We're going to talk this hour with a gentleman who's been on the program before. His name is Mike Cross. We're going to talk about psychopaths. They seem to be running rampant. It's almost like there's an epidemic, some kind of an unknown microbe or virus or airborne bacteria. The people of this culture today bear scant resemblance to those of 30 years ago. It's a whole different game, and it's not a pretty one. Contextual morality is now the basic underlying bedrock of interpersonal relations. People just do not feel accountable for anything. They're not responsible. They're always victimized. They are the victims. And boy, if you get in the way of their victimhood, they'll fight you. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. We got a whole political system full of that kind of psychopathy, and it's only getting worse. And I do not have any answers as to how to fix it or how it got this way, except I do believe it was sown into the populace on a number of different fronts. And I think that it's rather obvious if you look at it that it is psychopathy, politics, media, and control. And they're all linked together. They're like quadruplets. Hello, Mike. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, hello, Jeff. How's it going?
I'm not sure, but thank you for asking. I'm doing my best, as they say. It's just really crazy out there. We're at war. We're really at war economically already with Russia. Ukraine is now being dragged under. Porky and the Rat have declared war on Ukraine, the eastern part of the country. We could be at a major Middle East war footing, not just with ISIS and ISIL, but with Ukraine and the Southern Caucasus tomorrow morning. It's that bad. It's that crazy. Tell us what you've been watching and how things have been progressing since the last time we talked.
Well, for starters, I just wanted to mention that when we first talked, I had one book, a fictional book, I will note, Freedom from Conscience, published. Yeah. It's now the third one in the series is out. Fictional. A fictional exploration of psychopathy, because I think that's what really people relate to is the emotions. They relate to being able to read a story. I mean, that's how our ancestors conveyed information and so forth.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fun way of presenting what psychopathy is all about in a way that also people can actually understand without reading some sort of academic paper.
That was quite a statement. A fun way to present what psychopathy is all about. Psychopathy can be fun. A new bumper sticker.
Well, in a way,
you got to understand it. What you're saying is true. Unless you understand what psychopathy is and how people really don't have the moral constraint or the feeling that they are responsible for their behavior and their actions, and they can't just dish it off to someone else or a circumstance, we're not going to get very far. Not moving in the direction I'd like to see.
No, because unfortunately, most people have a feeling that everyone thinks the way they do. I mean, when you look out at a crowd, you're thinking that all of those people out in that crowd.
It's the strangest egocentrism. It's collective egocentrism, and I don't understand where it came from. But you're right. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, I think that, we just assume the best in people. I mean, most of us aren't paranoid. We're not looking at people like, I wonder what that person's thinking or how they're going to manipulate me. And then you do hear about someone going to jail, and they mention, well, this man or this woman was a psychopath. Then in our minds, we start equating that, okay, psychopaths are the kind of people that are just way different than we are, and they wind up in jail. That is
nothing could be further from the truth. No.
You know, the less intelligent ones probably wind up in jail. They're the ones that can't really learn to control their impulses. They get in a barroom fight. They kill someone. Right. They get angry at their wife or their husband.
They have flash anger. They can be violent, certainly verbally violent. They can also be physically violent. And they tend to try to dominate those around them by aggression. That's the best word I can come up with. Verbal, physical, it doesn't matter. Intimidating behaviors. They are extremely aggressive. And yelling at someone is a form of terrorism and abuse, and it can break people down. We've all heard of the Stockholm Syndrome. There's that involved, too. This is all over our country, all over the place now.
Well, it's worldwide, too. But I would note, the thing is, the ones that are the ones that can't control their temper, the ones that go off the handle, we spot them pretty quickly. But there is a subgroup of psychopaths that often encompass the group, what we would call cerebral psychopaths, who have actually learned how to control their impulses because it gets them what they want. Now, these are the ones that can set goals. These are the ones who can say long range, they can be like 10 years old. Those are the dangerous ones. I'm going to be president of the United States.
Yeah.
That's their goal. And they will go for it, just like a shark is designed to eat and to, every part of its body is used for predation. The psychopath's mind is set the same exact way. And these are the ones you've got to worry about. These are the ones that you see you tune into the State of the Union address or something like that. Look at the crowd. You're seeing a lot of psychopaths out there.
Yeah.
You turn on some sort of entertainment show and you're watching your actors and actresses. You turn on the nightly news and you're watching the people that are paid millions of dollars to sit there and tell you what to think. You're looking at psychopaths. Those are the ones you got to worry about, not the guy that's going to beat up his best friend at the bar because he thinks he's cheating on his wife.
How do we get here? How do we get into this state?
Well, I think we've been here for a long time. That's why the founding fathers believed that we should have separation of powers between the executive, the judicial, and the legislative, and so forth, because they knew there were people that were like this. Maybe some of them were like this too, and they just knew this is a way to constrain power. You also didn't have a media, though, that could convey a message to everyone at once because most people got their information from reading. Mm-hmm. In today's society, you have a mass media that they don't have time to deal with issues. You get the 30-second or whatever soundbite, and this is the ultimate environment for psychopaths and sociopaths. This allows them to get on and use the charm, which is actually one of the characteristics of psychopathy, to be able to use their charm and to say something real fast, and then the people have been taught that that's what counts. Oh, he said something really brilliant. He must be the best person to be president. Without thinking about, well, what is it he really said? It just sounded cool. It was like, hey, he made a home run. He made a touchdown in a verbal statement, and I guess he's going to be our leader. Idiocracy. I mean, that's where we're heading to.
And idiocracy. Oh, indeed. And backed up, reinforced, and absolutely impregnated into the very core of society through the mainstream media, which is now not the news. It's not even entertainment. It's programming. It's mass social programming, and it is not to be denied. There are very few people who can withstand it, who can step away from it and pull their consciousness back into themselves and not have it laid out on a table in front of them, which this media will then use any way it wants. I've never seen, and I've been watching a little bit of commercial television lately, I have never seen more insidious message mongering ever. They have it all. They've got the visuals, the colors, the camera angles, the zooms, the pans, the swish pans, reverse zooms. It doesn't matter. The close-ups, the shaky camera, the camera never stays still. It's constant amphetamines in terms of your sensories. Little children especially. Talk about sensory overload. How do they have a chance? I mean, they don't really. They're hooked on this stuff, and they can't sit still in the classroom, and so they're drugged into oblivion.
Well, I've said this before, and I hate to say it again, that it's almost better that your kids be watching movies like Terminator and stuff like that than be watching children's TV. I mean, seriously.
I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a fair analogy. Children's TV now is predicated on this, again, pace that is so fast and so vicious. Children don't have a chance to sit still. They don't have a chance to really discover themselves or learn what life can be. They are addicted. And then when they're 10 or 12, they get their first smartphone or cell phone, and it's goodbye. Goodbye. Try to reel them in from that. They go into withdrawals. They'll fight for it. It's all predicated on self-worth, peer pressure, self-worth. And if you have a smartphone and you get messages, you've got worth. And you've got peers and you've got friends. If you don't get the kind of activity you'd like, you begin to get depressed. Believe me, and you will do anything it takes to get on to the fast track. You've got to be on that loop, and if you're not, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we're heading into it. I don't think we're heading. We've been there for like the last few years. Where kids now, they go to school not to learn, but to show off what they've bought on TV or what style they have.
Oh, there's very little learning. It's all rote regurgitation. That's all it is. It's not positive. It's not proactive thinking. It's not creative thinking. It's not working really toward goals. There are exceptions to this, and those kids have obviously extraordinary parenting. Wonderful parenting, or they couldn't withstand it.
Oh, absolutely. But it takes an active effort on the part of parents or even individuals to withstand what I'm not going to call psychopathy when it comes to the general population. I believe you have to have a genetic predisposition in order to be a psychopath, but it is a type of narcissism which is related to psychopathy that has been created in Western culture that means that, well, it's perfect for the consumeristic society, because if you can create a nation of narcissists, you can sell them anything whatsoever, be it shoes, clothes, handbags, or politicians.
Yeah, narcissist without portfolio is what I like to call most of them. They're really seeing themselves in the mirror as they aren't. They don't really understand who they are. And how can they? They've assembled these masks that they carry around in front of them from all the different little pieces of pop culture or peer pressure or peer culture, and they create something that they think will be marketable, that they think will make them fit in, that they think will make them popular. But it's not them. They never really develop. They talk about arrested development. I see it all over the place with kids.
Well, not just with kids now. I mean, you see 35-year-old men.
Well, it's the first generation of adults now, too. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's 35-year-old men living with their mothers and playing video games all day and just having a part-time job to support whatever spending money they need.
And that's where they're going to sit for the rest of their lives, many of them. These video games are so malicious, so vicious, and so realistic that you literally lose touch with reality. You cross over into that netherland of video reality, which isn't real, but it is well, if you look at the screen, it's real. I can't believe what some of these games have been able to accomplish technologically. It is extraordinary.
No, you just wait. I mean, if you look at, every scientist predicts that.
Where's it going to be in 5 or 10 years? No, 20? Oh, the rate it's going now? 5 years, and this is going to be Zombie Nation. That's it. Drooling zombies, nothing less. There'll be a few examples that'll stand out, but most of the people won't have a chance.